This is Hoodies. So we just gonna go ahead and do this, and I may not have thought this all the way through, but that's okay. So going in. Welcome back to another dope session of Hoodies the podcast. I'm the host, Gar Rashidi, coming at you live from the Skill Suite. Well, maybe not so live, but we're coming at you. Blue, 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 and all that good stuff. Word. Check it, man. Again, shout out to my followers. Once again, thank you for your comments, your likes, and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? I'm appreciative because you ain't have to watch none of this. You feel me? So, this is kind of a race against time, kind of, sort of. I got a substantial amount to get whatever it is I need to get off, right? So, listen, let me ask you something. How are your accounts? Man, what do I mean by that? Let's go. Check it. Okay. So, in your mind, think of a bank. And then think of yourself, right? If you borrow money from your bank or lender or creditor, that may all be, within your bank, credit union, whatever, right? Okay, so if you borrow some money from the bank, from your bank, they lend you the money, right? And you fit all the qualifications, this, that, and the third, okay? They lend you this money, and I've never gotten a loan like that before. So I'm going to assume that the debt has to be paid back in a certain amount of time, right? Now, say you pay this money back. In fact, you pay that money back earlier than what you said you'd pay the money back, right? When you pay that money back in full and earlier than what you said, okay? How do you think your lender sees you? How do you think your bank views you now? How do you think? They view you in a pretty positive light. You look pretty good to them. You know what I'm saying? You're worth the risk. In fact, lending money to you isn't much of a risk because they can give that money and feel secure in getting their money back. You see what I'm saying? Right? So, another scenario. You apply for a loan. Your bank lends you some money. You know what I mean? So you get the money. Again, never got a loan like that before. So I'm once again assuming that there's a payback date or something like that, right? You don't pay it back on time. You having trouble paying it back. You eventually pay it back, but there's trouble. They get their money back eventually, but now you're having trouble paying it back. Okay? How do you think you look to the bank now? How do you think you look in their eyes? Probably not so good. You're probably not worth in fact, you're more of a risk that they may not necessarily be, all too eager to take again. Because of your credit history. All right. So let's take that type of analogy, if you will, and apply that to our relationships with people. And by people, I'm not just limiting people to friends. It could be relationships within family. It could be siblings, parents, your adult sons and daughters. I'm not going to say kids because kids don't have no job, so they ain't going to be able to pay nothing back. Same scenario. Say you ask your pop for some fucking money, right? And you tell him, yo, pop, let me borrow whoop-de-whoop, and I can pay you back whoop-de-whoop. And then not only do you pay them back, on whoop-de-whoop date, but you actually pay it back earlier than what you said you would. Now, how you think you look to your pop? Sure, he loves you because you're his son or daughter. But how do you think you look to him in terms of giving out his hard-earned money? He's thinking, yeah, go ahead. He good. So your account with him is pretty good. You see what I'm saying? So, which means Pop may Pop can lend you some money that he actually needs. Say he's a little strapped for cash, but because of your credit history, Pop still may be inclined, or mama, or whoever, but let's use Pop. He may be inclined to still loan you some money, even though money's a little tight right now. He may be a little more inclined to still give you that money because he knows he's gonna get that money back, and maybe earlier than expected again. Right? Now imagine Pops or Mama, but let's say Pops. You ask Pop, yo Pop, can I borrow whoop de whoop? And that's it. Right? Pop loves you. Pop is going to give you that money. However, Pop may not necessarily be all that willing to give you money that he doesn't necessarily have to give. Now, granted, if you don't have the money to give, it's not good practice to lend out money to people if you number one, if you strap for cash, or if you know you're not going to get that money back. I'm going to come back to that part. Give me a minute. I'm going to come right back to that part. But now, how do you think you look in Pop's eyes? How do you think you look in Pop's eyes if you borrow, or not even, whatever, borrow, and then there is no payback? The mention of paying back isn't even on the table. How do you think you look to Pop? Other than the fact that he loves you because you're his son or daughter. I'm going to tell you how he looks at you, right? The kid who pays the money back has a different type of account. Right? Like I said, I as a father would be more inclined to maybe lend out some money that I can't necessarily stand to give away, but because I know that you will pay me back, your account is a little different. Your account is in better standing as far as I'm concerned, because I know I'm getting that money back. Versus an adult son or daughter, nephew, niece, family member, period. How about that? Asking for some money, and you take the money, but with no intention on paying it back. This is how Pop views it. See, in a case like that, if I can't stand to lose that money, like if I'm strapped for cash, you are not getting no money from me. Not because I love you any less, right? Not because one account is better. Well, yeah, one account is better than the other one. I was just going to say that one account is just different, and sure, it's different, but in this case, one account is better than the other. Yeah, one account's better than the other. Fuck it, just call it what it is. One account's better than the other. Here's the thing. If I do give money to the family member or whomever, adult son or daughter, niece, nephew, uncle, whatever. If I do give money knowing that there's no payback date, the only conditions that I'll give that money under is if I don't expect it back, and I can give it. I can spare the money. I'm up. I can. You need 3,000. I'm up. I'm gonna be alright. Boom. Go ahead. Do what you need to do. And I'm not expecting that money back. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got a different nature. Everybody's got a different personality. Some people want to pay back what they owe. Some people, whatever. Call it a sense of entitlement. Give it whatever title you want to get to give it. Right? That's a different account. That's money that I know that if I give it, I'm not even, I can give it with a clear mind and an open heart and whatever else you want to throw up in there. I can give it because I got it to give. I know I'm not seeing that money ever again. That's why for anybody, if there's a family member, it be your mama, your daddy, whatever, they need some money. If you know that this person will not be paying you back, and there's a lot of times family won't. It's a lot of times family will though. But if this is a family member that's not going to pay you back, then only give it when you have it to give. Only give it when you have it to spare. Because if you need it back, that's going to be a fucked up relationship, because you're going to be standing on this family member like, yo, where my money, nigga? Where my money at, man? Give my motherfucking money. Right? Versus, you know what I'm saying? Versus the family member who's a good lendee. You see what I'm saying? You know you're going to get your money back from them. So that's a different account, right? Y'all see where I'm tying this? See where I'm tying it up now? So now, how are your accounts with people? Something to think about. How are your accounts? Are you someone who can be trusted? Are you someone, and there's no right or wrong answer. This is just to kind of gauge where you are character wise. I do the same thing to myself. And I've spoken about my demographic, the age 25, 35. So I'm trying to be more intentional in making content that my demographic can relate to. You know what I'm saying? I try not to get all up in my 50-year-old bag, even though I ain't 50 yet. I'm close. My lady, she 50 now. I call her my cougar. She's my cougar. You know what I mean? What up, Coog? You know what I'm saying? What was I saying? So yeah, I do a self-evaluation pretty often. How are my accounts with people? Am I someone whom a person can talk to and they don't have to worry about hearing what they said come out of somebody else's mouth? Or they don't have to worry about things I tell them, being thrown back in their face just because I'm in my feelings about something. How are your accounts? You see what I'm saying? You're going to have, you will have different accounts with different people. Because there are, in fact, some people you can tell things to, but you can't trust that they'll keep it to themselves. Some of them are family members. Some of them are our mamas or our daddies or grandparents if they're still with us. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to be able to trust them with certain information, which is why you should only trust people as far as you can throw them. You have some accounts like that. So in this scenario, in this episode, accounts are relationships. That might be a reach. But that's what I'm talking about in the sense with family. You know what I'm saying? Your account with them is such that I can't deposit any let information and personal data, if you will, be the currency. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things you can't tell certain people because it might come back. You know what I'm saying? It might come back in some inopportune times when they're mad or in their feelings or trying to manipulate you to get you to do something for them that you really don't want to do. So they're going to take something that they got on you or something they think they got on you and use it to leverage the situation. You see what I'm saying? And you have so-called friends and once again family that you can't share new, fresh ideas with for a number of reasons. That's another type of account because shit, they'll come and fucking spit and step all over your new and fresh idea. You know what I'm saying? Not because it's a bad idea, but because you pulling up on them, starry-eyed and full of hope and full of great dreams that haven't been, deferred, and dreams that you still feel good about, if that makes any sense whatsoever, right? A lot of them, you possess something that they may or may not possess, and that's belief in oneself, belief in yourself. You believe that you can achieve some shit. There are certain people whom you'll have accounts with that you can't tell those things to. There's a saying that you don't tell your big dreams to people with small minds. Man, bars. You can't because they don't understand it. They do not understand it. Then there's some people that you can't share new and fresh ideas with because they'll steal it. They will steal your idea. You might have an idea for an outfit, for you young ones. You may have an idea for a new business, and they'll take your shit and run off and do their own situation with it. You see what I'm saying? So we have to be mindful of accounts, of our accounts with people. You know what I'm saying? As the lender and the lendee. As the lender, you have to have just like a bank or any financial institution, you have to have serious discernment in terms of who you trust with your money, your currency. Meaning your personal information and actual money and things of that nature. You can't trust everybody. You cannot trust everybody. You know what I'm saying? And not everybody can trust you. You know what I'm saying? When some people come to you, they may be expecting you to coddle them. They may be expecting you, to make them feel good while they wallow in this shit. Because a lot of people don't really want change, which is why when they come to you with their shit, they don't like the fact that you're trying to give solutions. Fuck out of here, nigga. I ain't asked you for some solutions. I ain't asked you for all that. And that's when, just to touch on the last pod, vampires, that's when a lot of people, I know in that pod I talked about adult sons and daughters, but that's anybody. That could be anybody who knows a little something about you and can throw that shit back in your face because you're not coddling them and telling them it's going to be all right when in fact they're fucking up and can't stand the fact that they're being held accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? So, so as a lender, you got to be conscious of that. Sometimes it wouldn't hurt, especially us men dealing with our woman, my bad, right? Sometimes it makes sense to ask right before she gets started. Let me tell you what happened. Ooh, let me tell you. Whoa. Hold on, babe. Hold on. In this situation, what do you expecting from me? Are you expecting? Okay, what do you want from me? How's that? What do you want from me? You want me to just listen, or are you looking for some feedback? That's something that I ain't gonna front act like I've always known that. That's something I've just learned not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. And just to take let's take a hard left real quick in terms of accounts. And I want to say it's all relative because if you notice, I don't rock with paper anymore. So it's not all the bullet points aren't on paper. The paper's up here. Shout out to Jay-Z. All in my head, right? So check it. Speaking of accounts, brothers, right? I would address the sister. Well, I'm addressing sisters too, but from a male perspective because I ain't never been a woman. Don't want to be a woman. So I can't give you anything from a woman's perspective. So I found myself on the horn with my old man not too long ago. And he was saying something. We was talking about relationships and all. And he was talking about what his brother, who is now passed on, his brother William, some nuggets of wisdom that he gave him. And he said that my Uncle William told him, no, actually, according to what he said, there was a scenario. It was my mom's and my pop. And my uncle was asking my mom some things about my pop. And she, could rattle off stuff, this, that, and the third. And he would ask my pop stuff about my mom's. And my pop just knew a couple things, whatever. So when my mom's went to the ladies' room, my uncle said to my pop, she knows you more than you know her. You got to get to know your woman. You got to know her better than she knows you. You got to know her better than she knows herself. Right? So that was his message to me. You got to get to know your woman, son. Know your woman. Right? So I remember thinking to myself after he said that, like, man, how do you do that shit? And then I had an epiphany, because I was evaluating the account with my lady, right? And then turns out the epiphany, in the epiphany that I already got the knowledge. I already do know her. You know how there's the saying that knowledge is power? No, it's not. Applied knowledge is power. So even though I got all of this knowledge about my lady, I hadn't necessarily been putting it into practice. I got the knowledge, but I hadn't necessarily been applying it. If that makes any sense. For example, and not to get too deep into my motherfucking business, right? So check it. There was a situation, I'm not going to get too specific, but there was a situation where she asked me, what do you think I should do? So what she's asking me, babe, what do you think I should do? So I said, well, I think you should whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Shouldn't have done that. Especially when, according to my data on my lady, according to the information on my lady, the knowledge I got on my lady, I should already know that saying this will make her become defensive. And if I know that, I should have applied that. What I should have did, for example, this is just one example. What I should have did was, babe, how you think you should handle it? Well, I think I should whoop whatever she says, right? What you're doing now is you're putting her, so everything she says she should do, there should be other follow-up questions. And what do you think that would do? So you think that would work? In other words, it's probably not coming out right, but in other words, instead of answering the question directly, knowing that she will become defensive, I'll ask a series of questions that will put her on a path to come to the conclusion on her own. And in the end, because we was in that situation again, and I used that tactic, put her on the path to come to the conclusion on her own. Boom. Now for the most part, all I had to do was just give her the opportunity, also while putting her on the path, right? So I'm still guiding, you see what I'm saying? Through the questions, kind of like a therapist. I'm still guiding through the questions, and it's giving her a little bit of room and some time to reach the conclusion that I was at right off rip. That makes any sense whatsoever. Okay, let's call that managing your account. Okay? It's with your woman, but it's managing the relationship. It's managing your account with your woman. Just like women know that there's certain things that they can say to get her man riled up. And if she doesn't want him to get riled up, there's certain wordage that she won't use or will use in order to get the desired results. Okay, babe, listen. Da 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 and da 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 da. You see what I'm saying? She's gonna tread lightly. See, us men are a little different. We're not as emotional. Not to say we aren't at all, but we're not as emotional as women. So women don't have to tread as lightly, but she does have to tread lightly. Women manage their accounts with us regularly. A lot of times it's in a negative way, but women are much better, I believe, at managing their accounts with us men. So I'm about to come up out the hard left turn, and I'm gonna straighten up, right? So after you've heard everything that I've said, what are your thoughts on the accounts that you have? I'm looking for a fancy word, but I can't find it. But what do you think about your accounts with people? Give us some thought. Are your accounts in good standing? It's okay if they aren't. I mean, you're still here. You're still alive. You got an opportunity to get in good standing. If you're in the rears, you get it? If you're in the rears, set up a payment plan. Damn, that was a fucking reach. But damn, that's just how fire though. That's just how fire. Get you a payment plan. Hey, bring your account out of the rears. Pay back little by little. Get right. And you get right by fixing yourself. So this is almost kind of tying into the last podcast, vampires. You understand what I'm saying? Only this isn't specific to adult sons and daughters. This applies to all of us. You know what I'm saying? Wow. How about your account with yourself? How about your account with yourself? You know, how do you talk to yourself? It's important. How you talk to yourself is important. How you treat yourself is important. Right? My relationship with myself hasn't always been all that good. You know, I had a crazy relationship with alcohol. I don't believe I was ever an alcoholic, but I have had a DUI before. Right? Different relationships and this, and granted, this was all prior to therapy. Not saying I stopped and cold. Not saying I don't drink now, but the way I drink now, please, you look at me like I was a freaking saint compared to how I used to drink. I wasn't very good to myself because I was dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt, a lot of unresolved shit, right? And I think I was going through that because I am of the belief that when we go through therapy and we confront family members and this, that, and the third, almost in a sense, right? We're looking at the perpetrator, for lack of a better term. We're looking for them to admit what they did or didn't do, what they said or didn't say. We're looking for them to admit it so that then we can go and get, or so that then we can then heal, as if we're looking for permission to heal. When, in fact, you really don't need their permission. You really don't even need it. Just get over the shit. I know it's easier said than done. And I'm an advocate of getting some help. And help, by help, I mean therapy. Talk to an OG, an elder. You know what I'm saying? Sit with some wise counsel who can put you up on game and not blow smoke up your ass. No, I didn't just arrive here, but I ain't no different from nobody else. I'm just a brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a brother who's made his fair share of mistakes. And here I am, still trying to grow. I'm ever evolving. We are ever evolving. You see what I'm saying? And we all got accounts, you know what I'm saying, with people. And some of them are in good standing and some of them aren't. This is just a little something right here to advise you to look into your accounts. Are you in good standing? If not, what do you think you could do to get out of the rears, to put yourself in good standing? It's all on you. It's all on all of us. Dig what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna keep y'all too much longer. Just want to say thank you again for watching. Thank you for your time. Word up. Thank you for your time. I'm the guy Rashidi. This is Hoodies, man. Hey, peace. Time for a new mic.
Subscribe to this channel. Over and out.
This is Hoodies.